Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This is Interview with Mystic Emanuel Swedenborg. Before we get into it, though, let's talk about Patreon. If you'd like to support the work we do here in Astral Club, we have many folks who do. If you're interested, all you have to do is go to the description. And there you'll find Patreon link where when you join, you get the chat function, talk with everyone, a direct mail to me, asking for advice and what have you. Advanced podcasts on Sunday. If that sounds interesting, just go to the description section. Next up is astral projection lessons. If you'd like a lesson on how to astral project, be glad to work with you. Work with folks now literally all over the world. If that sounds interesting, then just go to the description and there's an email there. Just ask for more information. Okay, let's get into it. This has been requested by a number of people over the past number of months, looking for an interview with this particular individual. Swedenborg had a prolific career as an inventor and a scientist. In 1741, at the age of 53, he entered into a spiritual phase in which he began to experience dreams and visions, notably on Easter weekend on 6 April 1744. His experiences culminated in a spiritual awakening in which he received the revelation that Jesus Christ had appointed him to write the heavenly doctrine to reform Christianity. Wow, that's a big responsibility. According to the heavenly doctrine, the Lord had opened Swedenborg's spiritual eyes so that from then on he could freely visit heaven and hell. Kind of like me sometimes, to converse with angels, demons, and other spirits, and that the last judgment had already occurred in 1757. Oh, my goodness. We're way late. Anyway, he published a book eventually called Concerning the New Jerusalem and the Heavenly Doctrine. Okay, let's get on with the interview with Emanuel Swedenborg, mystic. I found Emanuel in a library in the Akashic Records that certainly didn't exist in his century. It was like an amalgam of numerous centuries. But he seemed very comfortable. The shelves stretched into infinity, filled with books written in light rather than ink. Some titles pulse softly as if alive. I've learned that the Akashic Records molds itself to the expectations of the person there accessing the records that they have there. Others whispered to themselves in forgotten languages. It smelled faintly of old paper, candle, smoke, and divine inevitability. Swedenborg sat at a wooden desk in this Akashic Records, which you should go sometime when you astral project. Don't be offended if the librarians there are a little off put by the fact that you come from 21st century Earth. We don't have the best reputation. The only reason I got a good reception is I had a recommendation from my angel guide. But, just be extra nice and ask for a little bit of help and be very, very thoughtful and grateful. Try to help them get a better opinion of us 21st century Earthers. Anyway, he sat at a wooden desk and he was calmly annotating a book that I suspected was the architecture of heaven itself. He looked up, unsurprised to see me hovering 3 inches above the floor. "Ah," he said gently, "another traveler who has learned the doorways between worlds." "Hi, my name is Rick," I said, offering a half bow. I don't know why I bowed. I don't know. I just went with it. Astral projector, temporal nuisance, and a professional trespasser of metaphysical spaces. "I am Emanuel Swedenborg," he replied, with quiet dignity of a man who had visited angels before breakfast. I pulled an astral chair into existence and sat. "You famously mapped heaven, hell, and everything in between. I've been around those neighborhoods myself. Let's compare notes." He smiled faintly. "Most men fear death. You seem to treat eternity like a commuter train. Someone has to keep from becoming boring. You claimed heaven and hell aren't punishments or rewards, but states of the soul. Care to summarize for the spiritually jet lagged? Heaven is not a place one earns, it is a condition one is. Hell is the same. After death, a soul gravitates toward the environment that matches its inner love. So, heaven isn't a gated community run by angels with clipboards? No. It is a society of souls who delight in truth, kindness, and wisdom. And hell? A society of souls who delight in selfishness, domination, and deceit. So, hell is Twitter, but permanent. Whenever I use these modern things with him, I don't know what the state of his intelligence is of modern day Earth. So, what I usually do, what I think many entities do, is you send a telepathic word bubble showing the individual involved what exactly you're talking about, like what is Twitter. And so you kind of send him this information bubble with pictures of what's going on. That's how I handle it, and I know that's how other entities do as well. Anyway, he did not laugh, but his eyes sparkled. And as I said, I sent him a telepathic review of Twitter. I could feel his amazed reaction on the tech, but he was completely unsurprised by the human drama. You wrote that angels were once human. No wings, no halos, just upgraded consciousness. I found that interesting when I read about you. Some folks think that they're a separate creation altogether. Angels are not a separate species. They are human beings who have learned to live in harmony with divine love. Okay. I mean, I think most people picture angels now as glowing bureaucrats. Their glow is merely the visible expression of their inner state. So, the brighter the soul, the better the lighting package? Okay, let's talk about your psychic experiences. You claimed daily conversations with angels and spirits. Did it ever feel overwhelming? At first, yes. The spiritual world is louder than the physical. Thoughts have color. Emotions have temperature. Intentions have weight. Tell me about it. I once bumped into a soul whose unresolved guilt felt like walking into a furnace made of regret. Precisely. In the spiritual realm, nothing can be hidden. One is one's truth. That's a terrifying concept for most humans. That's a lot more honesty of the soul than I think a lot of people are prepared to accept. You also said Scripture had a hidden spiritual meaning, that every biblical story is layered with metaphysical code. The literal text speaks to the world, the inner meaning speaks to the soul. So the Bible is basically a cosmic multi level puzzle box? One might say that. Great. Humanity can barely handle IKEA instructions. Emanuel, if you were alive today, what would you say to modern humans drowning in technology, politics, and existential dread? He paused, then folded his hands. You are not your fears. You are not your social masks. You are not your fleeting thoughts. You are what you love most deeply. Choose that love wisely. The words hummed with quiet authority, vibrating through the astral air. Final question, Emmanuel. After everything you saw, heaven, hell, spirits, angels, what is the single most important truth? He met my gaze. The soul is not judged by what it believes, but by what it becomes. Silence followed. Not awkward silence, sacred silence. The kind that makes sarcasm briefly consider retirement. I really liked this guy. I felt like I could just stay there with him and just kind of be in his presence and maybe study with him. I don't know. He just had this feeling that I really simpatico, you know. Anyway, as I stood to leave, Swedenborg returned to his luminous manuscript. Travel safely, Rick, he said. The worlds are wider than men imagine. I drifted upward, dissolving back into the astral currents, and for once I didn't crack a joke, because some interviews don't need punchlines, they need contemplation. If you like that, please hit the like button and share it with those of like mind. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave your questions and comments. Are you familiar with Emanuel Swedenborg? Have you read some of his work? Are you familiar with him? Is there any questions that you would have asked? Any of these things I'd be interested in, and I'm pretty sure everyone else would as well. This is Rick, and I will see you on the astral plane.